Then we have, oh, somebody dies. Oh, a couple people die. Passing away, but not from cancer. You gotta read the book to find that out. Picks up what Doña Duca put down, and she like, all right, let's go, let's get it, let's go. Hey boo, and welcome back to my channel. She Read That. This channel is dedicated to all the baby readers out there. And you said, well, what is a baby reader, Tanisha? A baby reader is someone who inspires to read more, but for some reason or another, they just don't have time, or they just don't. That's me. And I'm here to inspire you and show you that you can read one book at a time. You might can't read all the books, but you can read one book at a time, and we're in this together. Let's get into today's video. Today, I want to talk about my 5-star read. Well, one of my 5-star reads from last month. Carmen and Grace. Whew, this one is a doozy. It was the last book that I read last month, and it left a lasting impression on my heart. I picked this book because it was my turn to pick the book for a book club last month, and I haven't been doing too well with my picks. So I wanted to be more intentional, and I started looking at my TBR, my books that on Goodreads. So if you're not following me on Goodreads, let's go back and make sure you follow me on Goodreads. There's the link. And I came across this book, Carmen and Grace. I can't remember why I put it or how I came to put it on my TBR in the first place. But as I was reading the synopsis, I was like, this book is giving coldest winter ever. And I wonder if I present it to my book club, if they would think the same. So I did it without telling them that that's the mindset that I was going for. So the book is about two cousins, one named Carmen and one named Grace. Carmen and Grace, they were abandoned by their two mothers who were sisters. Their mothers were in the crime life, drugs and all that stuff, and they were also addicted to drugs. And so immediately Grace, upon her abandonment, I think she was probably like 13 or 14, she immediately took to the streets. And as she was in the streets, she met a man. Now this part might have you in a tizzy, because it had me in a tizzy. But I had to kind of look over this. But she met a man, a grown man, and he was interested in her. And instead of going to jail, which he still should have been in jail, he introduced her to his mom. In comes Doña Duca. Now I'm going to be saying that name a lot. So Doña Duca is the mother of the man that Grace, that was interested in Grace. And so she saw a young lady, I guess she had potential. She had that street smart. She was beautiful. She had all the things kind of similar to her. So she takes Grace under her wing and lets her live with them. Makes her son, oh, what's her son's name? I ain't gonna say it. Makes her son leave the girl alone, right? Leave her alone because she's underage, and they all live together, and she pretty much shows her the game. Her son is deep into the drug game as well, And so he's doing his thing, the mother's doing her thing, and Grace's only job is to get an education. So they put her in private school and to make sure that, you know, she has the best education. Well, Grace got a cousin named Carmen, and they were very close, more so like sisters versus cousins, the way that they grew up. So Carmen, after the mothers abandoned them, Carmen went to live with their grandma. Now I don't understand, how do they got the same grandma? Because how come Carmen was able to live with the grandma, but Grace wasn't able to live with the grandma? If you read this book, let me know, because now that I'm putting it together, I don't know about that. Okay, so Grace is like, oh, I need my cousin. I got to put my cousin on. I want to be closer with my cousin. I want to, you know, share memories and, you know, continue to grow up with her. So Grace introduces Carmen to Doña Duca. And they started spending more time together. But Carmen doesn't take to Doña Duca as much as Grace does. She has a boyfriend. So, you know, we're going to fast forward a couple of years. We're probably like early 20s at this point. As soon as she turned 18, I mean the day she turns 18, Doña Duca's son's like, all right, you know, you're legal now. Let's go. Let's get it. And they form a relationship, a physical relationship. They end up getting married secretly. That we find out later in the book that they actually did get married, and that was strategic. I'm gonna try to move on because there's so much in this book, and I was just like devouring every single piece. Well, Carmen, she is not into the crime and the drug game. She meets a man named Pete, and her and Pete, they get pregnant. And so throughout the entire book, we're moving through life with the two cousins, one deep in the drug game, crime. The other one kind of got her pinky toe a little bit, kind of, sort of, but she doesn't want to be. So Pete doesn't want Carmen to be in the drug game because she knows he's pregnant. But Carmen's trying to keep her pregnancy a secret from her cousin. And I'm just like, how are we keeping pregnancies secret? I don't understand. And then we have, somebody dies. A couple people die. But Doña Duca, she has cancer, and she ends up passing away, but not from cancer. You got to read the book to find that out. But anyway, so now you start to realize and understand that Doña Duca was bringing Grace along as pretty much her heir, because she didn't trust her son to run the empire. And so Grace picks up what Doña Duca put down, and she's like, all right, let's go, let's get it, let's go. And she recruits, I think it's about 4 other girls from the neighborhood, from different, like she got one from school, and just these different places, and they form the DOD, Daughters of Doña Duca. It was pretty hot. And so, of course, Carmen is one of the DODs, and they do not drugs. Do they sell drugs? They might sell drugs, but they do their drug thing a little different. And then as we move along, 2 other people end up dying. I'm not going to tell you who they were, but 2 more people end up dying, and that sets the block on fire. So now everything is hot. They can't move like they need to move, make money like they need to make money. And they all have to kind of go into hiding. All the daughters of Doña Duca, the DODs. And so one last thing happens. One last meetup. One last, it's given The Wire, you know, very intense. So there's one last meetup, and that's when everything just blows up. And yet, is it 2 more people? 2 more people die. So now we got 5 bodies, and it just explodes the whole situation to the point where Grace has to fake her death, and Carmen goes to prison. Or is she in jail? No, I think she's in prison. She gone. And the other DODs, they kind of go their separate ways. And Grace fakes her death. And then here's where it gets, the girlies in the book club, they didn't really like the ending. But I don't know how else it could have ended. It was similar. It reminded me of. Do y'all remember the ending scene in The Usual Suspects when Sergio, I can't remember his name, but you know, he was acting like he was the cripple, but he really was the mastermind behind everything? Well, Grace, she was so super smart. She set everybody up that was in the DOD so that it was like almost like she was preparing for the end before the end happened. You know, like if it all burnt down, that to make sure all the girls would be straight. And it was kind of fire to me. But the girlies in the book club, they didn't like it too much. Because Grace, after faking her death, she has to leave the country. And they was just like, you know, they could have tied that up better. But it's not the happy ending. But in the end, I did enjoy the unfolding. Like first it had me on my toes, like, oh my God, what's happening? What's gonna happen next? And then towards the end, Melissa Aquino. See, I gotta practice these names. I can't do this. She tied it up for me. I was satisfied, you know, knowing what happened to all the characters and knowing that there's not going to be another book. It's tied up real good. Shouldn't be another book, but I really enjoyed it. If you've made it this far in this video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and you better share this video with another fellow baby reader, because there's a lot of books out here and we can't read them all, but we damn sure can try. Thank you. Bye.